Hello, everyone. I'm constitutional attorney Catherine Henry. We've had some questions about a recent survey I put out there asking you to sign up, if you will, if you wanted to participate in my amicus brief that I will be filing regarding the abortion case that Governor Whitmer has filed in the state of Michigan. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that entails. And all right, there we go. So as I explained in here, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer recently filed a case in Oakland County Circuit Court against 13 prosecuting attorneys. Now, we did a whole episode on it for week 15. So if you want more information about it, you can check it out there. But she was asking the court to, number one, enjoin or stop the prosecutors from prosecuting crimes under MCL 750.14, which is Michigan's criminal abortion statute. And she was asking the court to declare that the Michigan Constitution protects the so-called women's right to an abortion. So I plan to file an amicus brief. For those of you who know or heard of some of the stuff I've filed in the past and my participation in the Michigan Supreme Court against the governor's executive orders in 2020. I also participated as an amicus in that way. And essentially what it was, my role is I come in as a so-called friend of the court, not friend of the court in custody types of cases that Michigan is used to, but literally a friend. I come in as a friend to the court, to the judges, in the sense that, hey, I've got some information I think would be helpful while you are looking at this case and determining what should be done. So as a friend, as a fellow legal expert, I'd like to come in and share that knowledge with you, the court, and help you figure out the best way to resolve this case. That is what an amicus is. So an amicus brief would be the main arguments I'd be presenting to the court on these topics. So in 2020, actually in February of 2020, I submitted an amicus brief. Only God knows his timing, right? I submitted an amicus brief it was actually on a custody case, but I was representing Physicians for Informed Consent. And it was about the issue of mandatory vaccinations and whatnot. This particular, the next round of briefs that I was doing, many, were in a couple of different cases. And we recently kind of talked about what those cases were and what I was arguing in my briefs, et cetera. But I came in basically unofficially representing the people of Michigan based on the literally thousands of people that had reached out to me to ask me questions, to show their support for the work that I was doing, at any rate, I had significant and continuous contact with people since March of 2020 through the point of filing these briefs. And so I explained all that to the court and said, so it's in this role, in this capacity, and as an attorney with a duty and obligation to protect and inform the public, I'm submitting these briefs, bringing up these issues. It's in the same context that I would be submitting these briefs. I would be submitting the briefs essentially on behalf of the unborn. But what I wanted to specifically offer this time, because I have a little bit more time than I had last time in drafting these, is that if any of you want to put your name to this brief, if you want to make sure your own individual name, or you want to put your organization's name, if you have Michigan Right to Life organization, or if you have a small church group or your entire congregation, or whatever the case may be, if you want to participate in this way and make sure that the court knows where you stand or your organization stands on the issue of right to life, then this is a way that you could specifically add your name to this. And so again, let me kind of back up and say, now you know what an amicus brief is and the kind of things there. If you want to know what my main arguments are going to be in the brief, we talked about that in quite some detail in our week 15 episode of Restore Freedom Weekly, and I have the link there if you haven't had a chance to watch that episode. And also we have the Constitution segment recap for that week as well. I give the information here. So for example, I state that the Michigan Constitution protects an unborn child's right to life and not a woman's so-called right to an abortion. I ask the court to recognize this right to life as put forth in the brief filed by constitutional attorney Catherine Henry from Restore Freedom. So your option, if you wanted to participate, you would select yes. I proudly support Catherine Henry's efforts to defend the right to life as guaranteed by the Michigan Constitution. You have room to put your first name, your last name, if you're making this request on behalf of yourself or your organization. And if you want to make sure, well, essentially, if you want to participate in this, it's not going to be easy for me to go back and add a name here or take a name out. But essentially, when I'm ready to file, I will have to close out this survey. So whoever's name is on there at that point will be on there, regardless of how many stages afterwards that we'll be participating in. So there's just a few sections. This one looks longer because it's basically the description, giving you the information about what it's about. But essentially, that next stage is just if you're doing it on behalf of yourself, I'm just asking so I can tell the court if you are a registered voter, if you're a registered voter in Michigan or another state. I think there's maybe like 2-3 other questions. It's something that literally could take you like 60 seconds to fill out. Otherwise, it'll take you to section 3 of the form if you had selected the question about, I make this request on behalf of my organization. And that's where you would fill out the organizational information. So that's that in a nutshell. Essentially what you'd be doing, you're not coming in as a plaintiff. If you heard me talk about the Antrim election case in the week 17 episode of Restore Freedom Weekly, we talked about how the Secretary of State intervened and became an actual named party, a defendant in the case. That's not what we would be doing. We would be coming in kind of on the outside, but saying, hey, listen, court, we have some information we need you to hear. This is an argument that is likely not going to be presented. I was able to touch base so far with one of the prosecuting attorneys that I know is a right to life advocate, but his arguments are really going to focus more on the procedure, that he thinks the governor got it wrong, how she brought the case. So this particular, my arguments are focused not on necessarily the procedure, but on the substance. Let's get this addressed. Let's talk about a child's right to life, because it's not right what's happening now. So at any rate, that's what this brief is doing. And it would just be your name being included or your organization's name being included is merely to show the court that you want your voice heard on this issue and that you strongly believe or think or know, however you want to word that the Michigan Constitution does not give a woman a right to kill an unborn child, but rather that Michigan Constitution protects the right to that unborn child's right to life. So that's what we would be doing. I hope that you do take the opportunity to join me in on that. In fact, I'm going to take a peek and see if we've gotten any responses. I haven't been sharing the petition recently, but we have some. Yeah, we have a couple hundred or so. So let's see. As far as organizations go, I was just going to see if we have. Okay, so we do have some organizations that. Oops. I'm doing all kinds of stuff to mess up what we're doing here. So anyway, and then I totally disconnected the whole thing. All right. So anyway, we do have some responses. We have quite a few, actually. It's going to take me several pages to print those out. But please make sure to have your voice heard on that, to include your name on that. We want to know, we want you to have that option. We want to empower you to have your voice heard on this issue. So with that being said, hopefully that cleared up any questions that you would have had on this. And if I haven't been good about remembering about different comments and things. It doesn't look like I have any comments right now, but if I'm missing them somehow in the feeds or whatnot, we will absolutely do our best to get some answers put back out in the comment feeds on the various social media platforms that we're airing this. So, all right. I'm constitutional attorney Catherine Henry. Again, I thank you for watching this explanatory video. I hope that you join in our fight for the right to life under the Michigan Constitution, and I appreciate your continued support in the greater fight for freedom here in the United States.